God is real, man. And if you don't believe me, this gentleman here, he really explains exactly his experience. And where I think for a little while here, he didn't really believe too much in God, or he didn't really have a proof, which is what a lot of people want. And when you listen to his story, it's something that really touches you, because God is real, man. And it sucks that a lot of people don't know this, because that's happening all over the place, man. And people don't know God, knowing to know that, bro, you can have a relationship with God, accept him as Lord and Savior of your life, and you'll have protection from the things that you don't know. Because we don't know everything, man. You need somebody to be looking after you, because there's evil things taking place in other realms, dark realms. There's evil forces operating, man. Let's check this out.
A, I don't think you're real. But if I'm wrong and you have a plan for my life, prove it. Don't ever ask God, the creator of the universe, to prove to you that he's real unless you are ready for an encounter of the first kind. 2 weeks come and go. I didn't even remember praying that prayer. There was zero faith attached to my prayer. And I was in my office. I'd been at lunch. I walked in and said hello to Sharon, our receptionist, went through a set of doors, walked down a hall, turned right, walked into my office, shut my door. And as I was dialing a phone, checking on a shopping center we were building in Beckley, West Virginia, off behind me to my left, I heard two words. And when I heard them, instantaneously, I was transported back 14 years to when I was 7 years old, when I had asked Jesus to be Lord of my life. I audibly heard the voice of God, and the two words he spoke to me were, call Mom. I didn't hesitate. I had a second line. I dialed 344-7443. The phone rang 6 times, 7 times. On the 8th ring, my mother answered the telephone, and when she said hello, instantly I knew something was terribly wrong. For in that instant in time, when I hear God say to me, call Mom, and I did so, my mother was, watch this, attempting suicide. She was dying. Whether she's your best friend or your worst enemy, somebody you see 3 times a day or 3 times a year, when you're here and 25 minutes away on the other end of the telephone line, the lady who gave birth to you is literally dying. That, my friend, will change your life. It becomes, again, defining moment. What do you do when you don't know what to do? For me, I ran out of my office, ran past Sharon, jumped into my car, drove up Interstate 75 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I drove up this interstate and I talked to this God I did not know. And I didn't talk to him in any kind of like King James language. It was like, God, help. I can't save my mom, but you can. For the first time since I'd been 15 years old, I was being honest. I rounded the corner in their neighborhood, looked at their home from the outside in. Everything looked fine. It was safe, secure, maybe like where you live today. But from the inside out, my mom was dying. I've spoken with millions and millions of teenagers. And from the outside in, they appear to have it all together. But from the inside out, I wonder what's really going on. Do you really get the truth that your choices do create your circumstances? I beat on the door that day. My mom was barely alive as she came down some stairs. She fell into my arms. I picked her up. I carried her to her car. I drove her to Park Ridge Hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And as we drove, she looked over at me. She says, Dean, I can't be dying. And I said, Mom, hang on. You're not going to die, but you're going to have to choose to live. The most important word in that sentence is not live, my friend. It is choose, because you and I are given the choice every day to make the choices that create our circumstances. I get her to a hospital that day. A doctor threw me against the wall. They rushed her to the emergency room. My dad is there now. Family and friends are there. 45 minutes later, this doctor walks across the ER to my father. I get a little closer to my dad, thinking we're going to hear the time of death pronounced. But this doctor has the most perplexed look on his face, and he said, Mr. Sykes, there's no medical reason to tell you this at all. It is a, quote, miracle of God. Your wife's fine. You can go see her. I heard that doctor say miracle of God. I looked straight up to heaven. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You're real? I took a walk that day. I could take you to the spot in Park Ridge Hospital where I leaned against the wall and I had an encounter with Jesus.
Man, it's a tough situation to have to find out that God is real. You definitely don't want to have to deal with that. But it proves, man, God can do miracles. God is real. And a lot of people don't know that. And I think that's why they find themselves in situations, groups, environments, places, whatever the case may be, where they're looking for peace, brotherhood, sisterhood, validation, comfort, love, support, guidance, so many different things people are looking for, and they connect themselves to certain people, things, places to get those. Instead of, as us, we have a creator. We go back to our creator to find out how to be. We were created. We are not our own. We belong to someone. So you have to figure out who that is, know that person, God, and you see what he can do in your life, man. There's a lot of people out here that don't know God. And furthermore than that, the people that know him, they may have not always had the best encounter with being taught who he is. And you're never too far off. That's the thing. You're never too far away. Like that lady who was in the sorority. If she made the decision to get rid of it now, she can cut those ties off, rebuke them, pray them away. They can be cut off because you've now accepted God to be protecting your life. You've now accepted him as Lord and Savior. It's a different experience.